Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Burning Truth. Welcome everybody to The Burning Truth. I am your host, the Funk Soul Brother, the bad boy of British Wrestling, Matt Burns. Now, last week we had the UKWM on the show, and I did notice that I did make a note. I did mention that I would be doing this episode as a bit longer due to focusing on that situation that was currently happening last week. Now, I've got a lot to cover on this week's episode. However, just what you might notice is, as of right now, because if you're listening at 9 o'clock or usual airing time, unfortunately I'm not live this week, and that is due to a busy schedule, because unfortunately I actually forgot that I was actually paying a visit to Wolfram Pro Wrestling, the big clash, and that would be today at 6 o'clock. Now, one thing I will state, nothing aside, hopefully while I'm there I might be able to acquire some big interviews and whatnot, as always, and bringing more content to the Burning Truth. Now, with that completely out the way, let's get straight on to business, which is to do with wrestling news and everything. Now, straight away, I'm going to be mentioning about WWE's upcoming Fastlane pay-per-view, which you can watch on the WWE Network just for $9.99. There you go, Vince. There's your nice little cheap plug for you. And one thing I will state, it's developing into a bit of an interesting development lately with WWE Fastlane. I do actually have some personal gripes with it and whatnot. However, instead of me ranting on about it right now on the airways and whatnot, I can actually speed that up for you and basically just mention to you, just go to the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com, and click on the blog section, because I've actually done a prediction section and also stated down what my personal predictions are, some views in regards to it and whatnot, and I hope you enjoy the read, which is all for this Sunday's Fastlane. The one thing I'm going to possibly mention is I do actually have one gripe with WWE Fastlane, which is that the fact that John Cena has managed to somehow go from Raw's main event picture straight into the SmackDown main event picture. Now, I know, yes, a lot of people can say, well, he beat AJ Styles on SmackDown and became one of the number one contenders by beating him. Yes, but he was given that opportunity to face Styles. Now, as much as I know he is a multiple, world heavyweight champion, actually holding the record with Ric Flair, very interesting. Now, a lot of people are saying he could go to WrestleMania and beat Ric Flair's record. Wrong. If he wins at WWE Fastlane, he actually beats Ric Flair's record at Fastlane, which means it takes away a WrestleMania moment. Cena's WrestleMania moment. Straight away there. Not only that, it also takes away another, what could be a potential WrestleMania moment, which is Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles, which I think them pair against each other would be a WrestleMania moment. The only gripe is that I feel as though he hasn't got his way on Raw and he's jumped over to SmackDown, and it just seems a bit silly how it's happened. But however, he could actually be doing this for best for business, as in, yes, he is jumping in between the shows, and what he could be doing is actually putting the talent over. So fingers crossed he is actually doing that, and potentially allowing the next rising star to come up and also build a name for themselves. Who knows? This could be developing into a nice, interesting story for Cena, because potentially, if you think about it, Cena could be for the first time in a long time not wrestling at WrestleMania, which will be a big shocker. Now, moving on I'm not going to be moving on from that situation because I've got some interesting news. We've got some gambling odds from online news, which is being presented by the from a website, I think Bet Wrestling. They're usually quite good on getting certain predictions and whatnot. Now, these are just to make it. I'll just mention who the odds-on favourites are by their choices and whatnot. Doesn't necessarily it is going to be 100% correct. And anything to do with gambling, I will clearly state: please gamble safely if you are gambling, and and when you feel it's time to stop. One thing I will state is, so far on these odds, they've got. I'll do them in reverse in the order, reverse order of how they're being displayed to me on my screen. Which is, at the moment, we've got Becky Lynch and Naomi odds-on favourites on defeating Natalya and Carmella. We've got a surprise betting odd of Rusev over Shinsuke Nakamura. That does surprise me. It really does, but you never know. For the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, they're stating that the Usos are the odds-on favourites, defeating the New Day, and United States Championship. Now, this one's interesting because on the United States Championship, they've got it as 50-50. They've got it straight down the middle. They don't know who is going to be winning that, either Bobby Roode or Randy Orton. So that one you'll have to take on as a guess. Now, the SmackDown Women's Championship, heavy favourite is Charlotte Flair, which I will state will be very, very interesting. That could have a potential cash in somewhere, but they haven't put the announcements for said cash in and whatnot. So with that, we will be basically moving on to the next match, which is for the WWE Championship Six-Pack Challenge. Now, the person who's got the best odds by quite a bit is the current defending champion AJ Styles, and behind him is John Cena. But the gap between them is absolutely massive. But you never know. WWE could throw in a wrench, do this, make changes here and there. You never know. But they are the actual betting odds and whatnot. But as I've stated previously, and whatnot, do gamble safely and whatnot. Do gamble responsibly, and when the fun stops, stop. Now, moving on from that, I'm going to be going straight down to NXT to Bobby Fish, who is one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions under the Undisputed. Now, unfortunately, Bobby Fish has actually gained a knee injury from an NXT live event. I believe it was from the previous week, or if not, it was the week before that. And he's had to have knee surgery to repair minor tears in his ACL and MCL, which basically he should be sidelined for roughly or approximately 6 months. Now, a lot of people are going to be stating, well, what's going on with the Tag Team Champions? Are they going to be defending it under the three-bird rule? Is Adam Cole going to be stepping in his place? That doesn't seem to be the case here. Unfortunately, with that, because Bobby Fish has managed to be injured, WWE has decided to vacate the NXT Tag Team Championship, and they've even made a bit of an interesting dynamic with it by basically stating this: whoever wins the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will become the new Tag Team Champions. Now, straight away there, that does bring in quite a bit, because in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, they actually have some random tag teams being put together, and also some proper dedicated tag team champions, and also some former NXT tag team champions involved in this. Now, straight away from my perspective, this could lead to very much many dynamics and whatnot, and I could end to the originally it was going to be the tag team classic was going to be to basically give a tag team match at the next, I believe, the next NXT takeover in New Orleans. Instead, the final is going to be most likely now at NXT Takeover New Orleans, which will basically potentially be very interesting. And I will state the NXT New Orleans event is stacking up. But I've got more news for the NXT New Orleans a bit shortly later. But moving on from the NXT Tag Team Champions and Bobby Fish and whatnot, we've got to go on to some NXT superstars being released. Now, there's been at least 3 NXT superstars being released. I'll mention the most recent one that I've actually found out. So I do apologise if it is actually, and it sounds like I'm getting quite a few messages. Apologise for that. I'll hopefully get that all sorted out. So apologise for the little noise interruptions. Now back onto the news. Basically, what it is we've got someone by the name of Gu Guangming. I do apologise if I have literally butchered that. I do apologise. The name is Gu Guangming. They were released this week. They were recruited in 2016 as part of the company's tryout camps in China. A 6'8" amateur boxer. They were working live events as Ming for NXT, but never appeared on the main TV. Now, unfortunately, they've been released and whatnot, but there's been no messages from Ming stating on his views and whatnot. Now, however, on a flip note, the other 2 who have actually also left is we have also got Abby Lath, who is known as Kimberly on the Indies, and Sage Beckett, who has been known as Rosie Lotta Love in TNA. Both of them were part of the Mae Young, women's tournament and whatnot for WWE. And I will state they've been released from their WWE contracts, and a lot of people have been stating when this news broke, it was actually supposedly revealed on International Women's Day. Now, a lot of it will state that, oh, that's tragic, that's unfortunate, you shouldn't be doing that and whatnot. Sometimes, bad news can be dropped off and whatnot. However, I looked into it, and the supposed report that Abby Lath was told a day before International Women's Day. I'm not sure when Sage Beckett was made aware of it, possibly at the same time. Who knows? However, there's been messages from Sage Beckett, who's stated, 13 years working her body and whatnot, and now it's time to work her mind in regards to. So who knows? She could be potentially moving on to a next subject, or moving into moving different, changing styles and whatnot. Potentially, who knows? But we'll have to keep an eye out on Sage Beckett or Rosie Lotta Love in regards to what she's going to be doing. Now, Abby Lath Kimberly is also known on the Indies, has also sent out a message thanking the WWE for welcoming her and everything, and giving her the knowledge and amazing treatment and whatnot. There seems to be no grudges, no hard feelings whatsoever in this in the message that she literally released. And from the looks of it as well, she was basically plugging NXT, plugging all WWE until they were released from the WWE contract. Now, I will state that is a very bit of a massive classic act from Abby Lath or Kimberly and whatnot. The fact is, she's still showing that she's still a team player, and who knows, regardless of it, from any of these releases, this could actually lead on to something big. They could end up building themselves an even bigger name on the independents, building, and then all of a sudden they show WWE what they can do, and WWE could end up taking them back and basically making them into big stars. Now, moving on from that, I will state right now, just for the next couple of minutes and whatnot, during this segment, I'm literally going to be discussing some specific possible spoilers for NXT. So if you want to just skip ahead a bit of the chat, I will state the next subject that I will be covering after this, which will be something that Rich Swann has announced. So just so you know, if you want, so I'm just going to give you at least 5 seconds to skip ahead till you hear something about Rich Swann. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler alert, in effect, NXT has announced that they are debuting a new championship in NXT. So take into account that this will be officially now 4 championships for NXT. They will have the NXT Tag Team Championship, the NXT Women's Championship, the NXT Main Championship, and now they will be debuting the North American Championship. And I will state, continuing on with the spoilers, the North American Championship will most likely be having some basically matches to decide who's going to be involved in trying to become the inaugural North American champion, and that will be decided at NXT TakeOver New Orleans in a 6-way ladder match. Now, just so you know, I will be now stating the 6 names that have been supposedly confirmed, but this is not 100% guaranteed. Just to clearly state, but and whatnot. But it's supposedly confirmed that in this match it will be Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Adam Cole, the Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, and EC3, who will be making his debut for NXT quite very much soonly, just as the announcement for the North American Championship does get revealed on NXT TV. And I will state, be very, very interesting. And I will state, I'm actually wondering who's going to be becoming the inaugural North American Champion at NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Now, with that out the way, I am now officially going to be moving on to the next subject, which is Rich Swann. Now, as we know, Rich Swann has basically recently left WWE and whatnot in regard to certain equalities and whatnot. Now, it's been a while, supposedly. Now, nothing's come in regards to results. They decided to just part ways amicably, and Rich Swann believes he might have, he's lost his dream job. And because of it, he's recently announced on Twitter that there's talks of him possibly retiring soon. Just to give an example of what's being said in regards to it. After all the bookings I've taken, I'm so scared to step in the ring, but I can't wait. LOL. But after they're done, I will be retiring. Thank you for taking the chance on my name. That was posted on March 8th, 2018 at 7:59 a.m. Now, at 11:44 a.m. March 8th, 2018, Rich Swann then posted this: "Damn, I lost my dream job. Well, even though I'm going to be blown up as fuck, I can't wait to wrestle again." So he's looking forward to wrestling again. It's not guaranteed that he will be retiring. He plans on retiring soon, potentially, but who knows? He could end up wrestling, finding the love again of it, and cancel retiring and whatnot. I will state, it is quite bad that he has lost a bit of a dream job with wrestling for WWE and whatnot, and I don't know how. I can't even describe how he might be feeling losing that. However, as I stated previously, with people who have left WWE and whatnot, just look at Drew Galloway or Drew McIntyre. He's done some amazing work by going back on the independent scenes. Who knows, you could go back on the independent scenes, make an even bigger name for himself, and come back in WWE bigger, brighter, better. So, and whatnot. So who knows? Fingers crossed that could be potentially what happens for Rich Swann, but you never know. Now, moving on to back on some more WWE news. This is in regards to John Cena. Now, as much as I know I could have mentioned this news earlier on, to do with more or less of with the Fastlane stuff and whatnot. However, I decided to put it here because you'll see why shortly. Because it does actually have some. I'd say it's more non-wrestling news. It's basically things that Cena's been working on outside of wrestling, and some future work he might be working on. Now, John Cena's got a bit of a role on the brand new Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as Baron Draxton, which will be quite interesting to see. Which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is TMNT has basically been multiple cartoons throughout multiple years and whatnot, and there's always been entertaining and whatnot for children and whatnot. So that'll be interesting to see how he does on that role, providing his voice for Baron Draxton in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And weirdly enough, he's also been doing some auditioning. Now, he's also been auditioning for a TV show on Nickelodeon. And the role he's going to be playing, he's trying to get, is Steve on Blue's Clues, which will be returning. And I will state, it'd be quite interesting to see him as Steve as Blue Clues. The thing is, Cena he does a lot for fans and whatnot, for Make-A-Wish and that, and he's still showing he wants to entertain. He seems to be still entertaining in WWE, and has also clearly showed that as long as his body can keep up, he will still wrestle as much as possible. But he's also doing his outside projects work, which can be demanding and whatnot. But he's still trying to entertain as much as possible for as long as possible. And I will state, all credit to him. So, regardless of what happens, I hope the best for him, and who knows, if he does get the role of Steve for Blue's Clues, he could be helping it's helping children with an educational program like Blue's Clues, and be entertaining for children and helping them to learn. Now let's move on from WWE, and let's get on to some news to do about TNA. I know. A lot of people can say, "Oh, TNA this, TNA that, the bloody hell." Yes, TNA have been doing ups and downs, but they're still tainted from some of the stuff that's happened in the past. But some of the news that I have got being brought out is quite interesting and quite big, because it could potentially change the future for TNA. Which is basically, just going to be stating it now. I'm not going to be mentioning the big news yet. I'll mention the small news first, which is to do with next week's TNA wrestling show, because this week has been the Crossroads special, and during the Crossroads special, they had a special announcement being revealed, which is Feast or Fired returns next week for Impact Wrestling. Now, this is where there's 4 briefcases. In each of the briefcases, for the Feast, they'll have a championship title shot, be it for normally for like a secondary title, tag team title, and then the main title, and then the fired will be the pink slip, which will be most likely someone is getting basically fired and moving on to greater pastures. Now, regardless of that, you might gather who it's possibly going to be due to certain shows and certain announcements of certain people being revealed at being at other places, because TNA are so behind on their recordings. Hint, hint, TNA, or should I say Impact Wrestling. Actually, I apologise for calling it TNA Wrestling. It's no longer that. It's Impact Wrestling. I should mention that. But anyway, that aside, because yes, they have been behind on the schedule, There is one massive interesting news for Impact Wrestling, which is AAA's owner is considering buying out, buying Impact Wrestling, which will be very interesting. It's being reported by the Wrestling Observer. The Wrestling Observer has broken a potentially big story with news that AAA owner, I do apologise for butchering the name, Dorian Roldan, is attempting to purchase Impact Wrestling. The Observer's Dave Meltzer said in the following topic, Dorian Roldan, who runs AAA, has told several people that he's looking at buying Impact. We don't know if this is just talk or something serious. Now, at the moment, currently, Impact and AAA do have working relationships and have shared talent on various events. In the past, Anthem Impact parent company has not said anything public about the news. This could be a very, very interesting potential for Impact Wrestling, because the one thing I will state, yes, currently at the moment, Impact Wrestling has been doing brilliant with gaining traction with Twitch streaming and their global wrestling network. However, it seems to be that from the recent years and in the past, it's been tainted a little bit. Triple H has some big media partners within Mexico. They've been doing some brilliant events and whatnot. So, this could actually affect a massive current storyline for Impact Wrestling and could lead on to big, interesting things which could make an impact. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that bad pun there. Now, let's move on to the last subject, which I'm now going to be basically bringing back a WWE back, which is to do with the WWE, which, interestingly enough, it's to do with Brock Lesnar. Now, the main event for WrestleMania is being quickly changed around and whatnot. They don't know who to put in the last match. We don't know yet. Rumour supposedly has it that they could be having Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns as the last match, but because certain things with Brock Lesnar for Brock Lesnar's WWE future, it could be changing that. Who knows? It could be the Shinsuke Nakamura match, or the WWE title match could be there, or in any such case, it could even be Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, which could be main eventing. I will state if it is that will be quite shocking, especially as much as I understand that Ronda Rousey is a big name. It's quite a lot to put on his shoulders, seeing as it's her debut match ever for WWE. But it'd be also a good way to test, sinking and swimming in WWE at the biggest show, the Showcase of Immortals. Now, currently, there's rumours that WWE, that Brock Lesnar could be potentially going to UFC following Mania, and because of certain events with him supposedly not training off, there's been backup plans of possibly having Braun Strowman involved and whatnot. Basically, they seem to be just in case. But here's the thing, WWE has also been in talks with Brock Lesnar, and there's a possibility that Lesnar could sign a new deal with WWE. However, just in case that Brock Lesnar doesn't, they could be downplaying the beast just in case if he's on his way out, so it doesn't look like too much of a massive loss when he does actually jump over, if he does leave and go to UFC or any other company. Now, with that in mind, that could potentially bring a massive change if Lesnar does decide to just up and leave. Could they fit Strowman in, or could Strowman somehow still fit in, make it a triple threat? Could they potentially, bring something around, or are they going to be going into the original scheduled plan of Roman Reigns versus the Beast? But either way, there's a possibility that they could be downplaying the Beast due to possibly being on his way out. We won't know in regards to this news until WrestleMania, and potentially when Brock Lesnar's contract does actually run out, will he be renewing or won't he? Now, I believe that would be the last piece of news that I will be announcing for this episode today, and I'm now going to be moving on to our basically the usual plugs and recommendations and whatnot. As always, we recommend the UK Wrestling Media, also known as UKWM. JG Printing and Stitching always does fantastic work. Changes health and well-being. We recommend them. Give them a check out, for healthy minds and whatnot. You never know, it could actually help you out, or it could potentially, you could potentially help somebody else out who might have a few different issues and whatnot. Who knows? It could just provide some interesting information. I'm going to be giving a recommendation to Team 4-Star, who usually produces some fantastic content. I recommend The New Breed, which is a band. I will recommend checking them out. As always, I've always got to say Botchamania. So there's your plug, Matthew. Who knows? I'm expecting. I will say, so if I'm ever on there, I will be proud and highlighted, but I'll also be a bit upset because I've made a mistake and been caught on Botchamania. But either way, I will still treat it as a high regard because Matthew thinks it's good enough to be on his Botchamania. And I also recommend Barely Average Studios as well. However, if anybody ever wants to check out any of our plugs and whatnot, and they want their Facebook pages, their YouTube pages, their websites directly, you can actually find some of these links at www.theburningtruth.com/links. Or if you want to, just go to the website, click on the links page, and you'll have all the links there. There will be all links that we be giving shout outs. But just to point out, yes, we do actually provide the links and recommendations. If you do go to their website and they do have inappropriate content, they don't always share the same views. We do actually have different views, possibly. But to be honest with you, they're usually quite good. So they always keep up great content. So I do recommend them. So please check them out at any time. Also, on top of that, just to point out, while you're also on the Burning Truth website, you can also potentially pop over to the merchandise page, where you will basically be able to find some t-shirts of ours and some mugs that we're selling. But there's also some web exclusive mugs on there, which is with some added colour. I just thought I'd just mention that. I know, it sounds like a bit of a cheap plug and whatnot, but if you are interested, just go on to it. Click on the merchandise page. At the moment, we are currently only for UK customers only. Additional countries will be available shortly. However, currently, as soon as you go onto the merchandise page, there is an announcement that does pop up stating free delivery. There will be free delivery if you spend over £48 in total. However, just to mention this, the free delivery is only available under the standard and economy delivery. However, the express will be reduced down to £10, which will be the quickest. It's more like the express. Potentially, which will be reduced. However, I do recommend you check that out. Now, with all that being dropped and whatnot, I'm going to be wrapping up this episode. So hopefully, I will see. I'll hopefully see you or hear you in regards to the next broadcast, the next interview, the next review, and whatnot. If you've got any comments you want to leave us in regards to this episode, past episodes, do leave them down below, either at Spreaker. You can either send it to me directly on Facebook, on the Burning Truth, or even on the YouTube channel. And if you are on YouTube and you do click subscribe, if you click on the little bell as well, that will also notify you of any brand new episodes that do come out pretty much as soon as they are actually, they'll announce it as soon as they are uploaded. Fingers crossed. If not, do send a message to YouTube stating you're not getting notifications. So I do apologise if that's the case and that happens. But anyway, as I was just saying, I'll hopefully see you at the next broadcast, the next interview, the next review, and as always, check out your local wrestling and stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch you next week.